This video is going to teach you how to paint a portrait of a lion. You can adapt this idea to many other animal portraits as well, particularly large cats. First, start off with a large sheet of grey sugar paper. Using plate and CDs as circle stencils, we're going to draw the large circle for the head and a small circle for the muzzle. Note how the small circle overlaps the larger circle along its perimeter, about halfway through the small circle. Make a mark on this line in the center and draw straight up vertically until you reach the top arc of the small circle. At the top of this line, we will draw the nostrils. They look a little bit like a heart shape and are symmetrical either side of this line. Bring the nostrils down on that vertical line about a third of the way. Now we're going to draw the lips. They also start about a third of the way up and go left and right to join the corner of the mouth, to join that curved line cutting the small circle in half. If you can, try to make them just a little bit curved. On either side of that smaller circle, continue 2 lines up the face. Again, try and keep them symmetrical. Square up the jaw and returning back up to either side of the small circle, straighten up the nasal passage or the top of the nose a little bit. Okay, it's time for the eyes now. They are above the midpoint of the large circle. You could even draw a pale halfway line across your large circle to know where to position the eyes. Start with curved arches on either side. The inside of the curved arch needs to line up with those straightened parts of the nose. The outside of the arches need to be about 2 finger widths away from the edge of the circle. The bottom eyelids are curved in the other direction and sit hugged inside of the top arch. Draw in the 2 irises like 2 brackets, making little triangles in the corners of the eye. These are the white areas of the eye. The iris is cut off at the top and at the bottom. The next are the 2 pupils, which in this case are near the top of the eyelid and cut off at the top, and inside them are a little circle on each side for the light spot. Next you can add the ears, like 2 big tunnels on either side, and on the inner side of each ear towards the center, draw a second curve. This separates the back of the ear from the inside. Now we're going to draw the mane. The mane is drawn with a curved zigzag line, zigzagging, curving to the right on the right hand side and zigzagging and curving to the left on the left hand side, meeting in a point down at the bottom of your page almost. Add in the shoulders on either side of the bottom of your mane. Right, it's time to start with the black outlining now. You can use wax crayons or oil pastels for this step. Begin in the curved part between the 2 ears and join that as you go to the ear on either side. Do the inside of the ear with a zigzag line to create a soft, fluffy, furry texture. Complete the eyes and colour in the pupils black. Go down to the nose. Colour the nostrils in with black as well. You can add some dots or marks for where the whiskers would grow from. Continue outlining the top lips and either side of the nose. You do not need to connect the eye and nose lines. Continue by outlining the chin. Make this fuzzy or fluffy looking with zigzag lines, and complete the rest of the face, the mane and the shoulders. Some colour now. So moving on with our oil pastels or wax crayons, we will first colour in the iris with yellow. Colour this in really thickly, a thick layer of oil pastel to fill the space. Next you're going to use the orange and you're going to zigzag or colour in radially like a wheel, starting from the black and out to the outline and back in again. Finally, you need an ochre or mustard colour that you're going to colour over the orange and yellow and blend those colours a little bit more. Finally, the white is where you're going to do the light spots and the two corners on either side of the iris. With white acrylic paint, you paint in the chin and the inside of the ears. For the fur, you're going to need burnt umber, raw sienna, and yellow ochre. Continue with the white onto the top lips, and then switch to ochre. You could blend slightly between the two, just above the nostril, but then move into full ochre as you move between the eyes. Paint smoothly and radially, in other words, follow the curve to either side of the forehead as you paint with the ochre. This next section has been filmed so that you can see how the paint is applied. Notice that we're using quite a thick brush here. It is a round pointy brush with a nice tip on it called the toe, and we use that toe to get into all the little zigzag spaces so that we don't mix our colours together. Once you finish the forehead with the ochre, move over into the raw umber. The raw umber is just one level darker, and we use that on the back of the ears and around the perimeter edge of the face. You will need to aim to blend between the ochre and the raw sienna so that you don't have a stripe going around the head, but rather a shadow line. Notice how I am blending or pulling the paint back from the edge, the black edge of the head towards the ochre, and then pulling the ochre back into the raw sienna. By pulling or dragging the brush's edge along the black line, you get a really crisp, neat edge and you don't go out of your lines. Keep blending backwards and forwards until the paint starts to get tacky or sticky as it starts to dry off. The more you go backwards and forwards with your brush, the smoother the effect will be that you'll get. Down on the cheeks, I'm using the raw sienna to outline first. So I'll outline carefully around the edge of the nose and around the perimeter of the face. And then I go back with the ochre, the lighter colour, and fill in and then blend between the two where the two meet. This way I create a highlight on the cheek and a shadow inside of the nose line and around the perimeter of the face. Same thing over here on the closer side to you, again using the raw sienna as the perimeter shadow colour, and then bringing back the ochre. Oh, and over here I've actually put a drop of the burnt umber, a tiny, tiny drop as I go down either side of the nose line to give a little bit more of a shadow so that the nose looks like it's popping forward from the face. It's a great trick to create 3D. And here it is with the ochre, the lighter mustard colour going back in and highlighting the cheeks and under the eyes. Keep working with your brush to blend and smooth the paint out so that you're not ending up with those streaky brush marks. And here is the finished result. You can see the shadow lines nicely down the side of the nose. You can also go back and paint inside of the ears with the white still a little bit damp. Add a tiny bit of the ochre or yellow oxide in there so that it's really a pale whitey mustardy colour for a little bit of extra shadow just on the inside of the ears. Use quite a lot of that burnt umber to add shadow to the chest, painting in underneath the mane, again to make the chest look like it's receding. Highlights with yellow oxide and raw sienna. Now we're going to add some fun bright colours to use for our mane. Here we have orange and cool red added to our palette. Again, we move into a video demonstration of how to apply the colour to the mane. Notice that the colours are picked up pure from the palette. They are not mixed on the palette. So a pure colour, like here, it's ochre that's been picked up and it gets painted in to the mane. Any mixing that happens on the paper. Using the burnt umber or the dark brown colour for outlining close to the edges of the head and the ears, stops that white gap that you sometimes get when you're painting two colours side by side. So underpainting with that dark colour and then coming in with brighter colours over the top. Try not to overmix on the paper. You still want to see each colour highlighting or showing separately. Notice the long streaks from tip to head and from head to tip as I work. Using the toe of that brush, the very tip is doing all the work. As I pull it from the tip back into the fat or wider parts of the painting, and then from the side of the head towards the fatter part again, the big space where I'm not going to go outside of the line. Here again with the darker colour underpainting and going back with the lighter colours on the top. It has been speeded up a little bit for you so that the video doesn't take too long. Obviously you would be painting a little bit slower than this. If the colours do get a little bit too mixed up, don't worry about it, just go back with another pure colour and do a streak over the top. It's quite nice when you pull with the toe from the tip in towards paint and it naturally blends in. You don't need to do too much mixing. Keep turning your paper around and around, making it easier for you to paint or access the place without smudging or having to put your sleeve over your work. Remember that gravity pulls the head down towards the ground. So on the left-hand side of the mane, your brush strokes need to curve to the left and down towards the ground. And on the right-hand side, they need to curve towards the right and down again towards the ground. You can see me pulling the colour in curves down towards the bottom of my paper. Up at the top where his mane is short, it's more springy and stands up a little bit more, but the gravity starts to pull it both to the left and to the right as it gets longer. And of course when it's longer it's heavier. So here we go again, underpainting with the dark brown, the burnt umber, and then coming in with the brighter colours on top. Very carefully using the toe of my brush to get into those little gaps so that I don't lose the fuzziness and the zigzag line of the chin. And the mane is almost done. We're going to leave that to dry for some time before we paint the background. Alternatively, you could paint the background before you do the mane and the shoulders. Nice close-up here of the forehead and the blending there, and of the eyes and how the colours, you can still see the different colours in the eyes. And here we have the background, blue sky and green grass.